Hello, so in this video I'm going to be telling you how to contact a manufacturer, why it's important, what it's all about. I'm going to explain all of that to you because it is a great thing if you can do it, because it opens up a whole other little world of opportunity. So what's the point of contacting and working directly with a manufacturer? So instead of you buying from a retailer, buying that product from a retailer, like if you sell a lot of Mattel products, it might be worth reaching out to Mattel to see if there's some sort of deal that you can work out with them directly. Same can be said for any brand. So if you have a particular brand or a few that work really well in your Amazon business, and of course you have been selling for a time, and it is proven that those products work out for you time and time again, because you don't want to make that deal and actually it was just a seasonal product that has come and gone, and actually the brand's not really that worth it for you anymore. So you want it to be a consistent product, which just means sticking with selling that sort of stuff for a time, if of course it's feasible for you to do. So instead of you buying from a retailer, buy from the manufacturer directly. So you cut out that middleman, and it means that you are basically paying wholesale pricing for that product, for that range of products. With a retailer, obviously, where they make their profit is when they mark up those products. They're not going to sell it for the exact same price, not after acquiring those products initially and so forth. So, they have a business to run as well. So when you buy from a retailer, you have to remember that those prices are actually marked up from what they would have been from the brand themselves. You have better margins that way, obviously, because you're buying in bulk from the source. It means you have an increased profit per unit. As I say, you get that wholesale pricing typically. Exclusive deals. Some manufacturers don't sell to everyone. If you do contact them, you might need to secure an account before your competitors do. So as and when it seems like the right time for you to reach out, and when I say the right time, I don't just mean when it is that you feel like it. I just mean after. Obviously, you need to be selling on Amazon for a while. You can't just rock up as a brand new seller and you've got no history behind you, no experience under your belt. You need to have been selling on Amazon for a while. I would say having at least 1 year's worth of experience and time spent selling on Amazon is ample time to, prove to them your worth as a seller. That's kind of what you have to do. It could also be around that time as well where you've got your own sort of like little website set up ready for like showing off for deals like this, because that can be quite a good thing. Maybe you started a social media channel. It might be worth having that link somewhere in your email, not as a main talking point or a look at me kind of thing, just sort of something they can check out if they want to. And if you've got quite a good presence there, maybe they'll see value in the fact that you could potentially be talking about their brand, their product. So it's just when you have all of those things in place, when you've been selling for a while, and again, as you know that brand actually works out for you, then it's worth reaching out just as soon as you can from that point when those things align, to get there first. Because as I say, these manufacturers aren't going to work with literally anyone and everyone. There are private label and white label opportunities. So you might discover manufacturers willing to do custom branded products for you. I would say that the chances of that happening are small. I won't lie to you. And I'm also going to say that the amount of brands out there that are going to be willing to do this as a special thing just for you, again, that's going to be really small, but it's not impossible. Just not very likely. So I wouldn't go in expecting anything like that. And if that's what you're looking for, maybe after a good solid working relationship with that manufacturer that spanned for a year or two, something like that, it's just a time thing. It can give you authorized seller status working with a manufacturer. So if you buy direct, you can, I'm not saying you will, but you can get authorization to sell a brand, which means you avoid IP claims and restrictions. So you kind of become immune to those things for that brand, which is a really good thing to do, because it means you have such a significant advantage when it comes to selling things that lots of other sellers can't. And you do see that every so often where a brand does have notable IP issues and people can't really go to sell that product without getting into trouble. But you do see that some sellers are doing it. Now, granted, some of those sellers will be people that haven't done an analysis. They've gone on to sell that product and they will be facing IP claims, if not now, then very, very soon. But some of those sellers will genuinely have a deal with that manufacturer. Therefore, they're safeguarded from the nastiness of an IP claim. So it's a great thing to have if you can get it. And as I say, you've got such a significant advantage there as well. Bulk discounts and negotiations, this kind of fits hand in hand with the whole better margins thing. Distributors and manufacturers often have a minimum order quantity of pricing tiers, allowing you to scale. So it could be that if you buy so much, you'll have X amount off. Or if you buy this amount, then again, you'll have X amount off. And as I say, if you've been working with them for a number of years, there could potentially be a discussion had where you talk about better pricing, or some kind of deal like that where maybe you set those tiers in place where if you buy X amount then you get X amount off, or something like that. But again, it's just a time thing. A lot of these things are time things, but eventually you will get there if you aren't already there. What to look for. So when you are looking to work with a manufacturer, you're looking for their details. You need to be able to contact them. So if you see the actual manufacturer's name, because sometimes it can be hidden behind something else. So for example, like one brand may be made by a different company, so it might not have the same name. So if you find the actual manufacturer's name, address or website, this is usually the best source since they create the product. A lot of products, if you literally hold up a physical product, you can see sometimes the manufacturer details on the packaging. So it can be as easy as that, or just by doing a bit of research on the internet. That's your best way forward. Distributor details. Some brands only sell through authorized distributors. In this case, the distributor is who you need to contact. It's best to find obviously an email or a website. So sometimes, as I say, packaging includes the business email or website, and that's gold. You can visit their site and look for a wholesale or trade section because they can have them. Otherwise, it's just a case of putting together a professional, formal email, which doesn't set a list of demands like, oh, we need to work together and I want X, Y, and Z. You just need to see if they're open to the opportunity. You need to be very forthcoming and not pushy. I would say being pushy doesn't really work. So just being open to a discussion, and it will be a discussion. Both parties have to benefit, so not just you, but the manufacturer needs to benefit as well. That's how business works. You're also looking for company registration details. So if you see a business name plus address, you can search for them in the company databases, like Companies House in the UK, or in the US, you're looking for SEC to find the contact info for them. So there are databases where you can look up the company and find their details through that. So those are the websites that you can use if you're in the UK and US. So manufacturer versus distributor, who should you contact? So in terms of the best pricing, you're better off with the manufacturer. With the distributor, 99% of the time, the products are going to be marked up. So in terms of pricing, you're better off with the manufacturer. More product options. Now, with a distributor, they will have a limited selection, and the proof of that is just if you go to different stores and say for example they sell Funko Pops, right? One store will have a limited selection of that, and they might have different ones to say another store who doesn't have those exact same ones, but they might have a larger range. So overall, they've got more Funko Pops. So with a distributor, the selection is limited. However, if you go directly to Funko, they'll of course have every Funko imaginable. So they will have the full range of things, and that applies for every manufacturer, regardless of what category, what type of product they make. So in terms of a range, manufacturer is the one. Easier to open an account with. So with a distributor, it will of course be easier to open an account because that's what they do. With a manufacturer, it's going to be harder because they work more so with distributors rather than individual sellers. So it will not be a straight up easy thing where you reach out via an email and go, hey, can we work together? And they just respond, yeah, sure, why not? There's going to be a lot more to it than that. So with a distributor, it is easy, but if you can make it with a manufacturer, and it is always worth the shot, just the same as when you're reaching out to work with wholesalers, it's always worth that initial shot. And then even if it's a no, trying again in future won't harm anything. You can only ask. Minimum order quantities. So the MOQ is often lower with a distributor because, again, that's just how they work. With a manufacturer, it is usually higher. Not all the time, but a lot of the time it can actually be higher than a distributor. In terms of faster shipping, a distributor will be faster, and depending on the distributor as well, they might have multiple facilities around the state or the county or the country or whatever. For example, it could be that it is a popular wholesaler that has got multiple facilities around the country. Of course, it'll be faster there because you might live near one. And they've got all of those products that are already made up, already done. So, of course, they can get them to you. Whereas with a manufacturer, it might be slower because, of course, they have to manufacture the product. Which one is better for brand approval on Amazon? The distributor? Sometimes, not very often. With a manufacturer, yes, that is the best possible thing you can do for brand approval, which is basically where you get your IP immunity from. So you can keep selling that product even if they don't want other third-party resellers to do it because you've got a special deal with them. So what you do with the info once you have it. So if, say, you've looked on the back of a product like this one, and you can see a bit of information about the company, you can look up the company name plus wholesale or distributor. And if you are looking to work with the distributor, then that could be quite a good thing. And I mean, it's the same thing with wholesale as well. That's what I do. If you just look up the product name or even the company name plus wholesale distributor, that can come with a bunch of options that are viable for you. So it might not just be the manufacturer itself. Maybe you see that it's actually better to work with a wholesaler in that instance for that brand. So, it helps you find them. As I say, find a contact email. If they don't have a wholesale section, try emailing their support. Call them. Ask if they supply sellers directly, or if you need to go through a distributor. Request a wholesale account. Prepare business details like a VAT or EIN number, company registration, and reseller certificate if it is needed. So I wouldn't openly you can do what you want, but I wouldn't openly provide that unless they actually ask for it and state that they need it. And you can potentially negotiate down the line. So ask for minimum order quantities, bulk discounts, exclusive deals, things like that. So those are the perks to working with a manufacturer directly. And hopefully this has helped you decide if a distributor or a manufacturer would be better to work with, depending, of course, on the brand and what will work, what's viable, what makes sense, where you're at in your Amazon journey. Hopefully all of this information helps. There's actually quite a lot of good stuff you can get just from the back of a product. And even if you don't have a physical product, if you're trying to find stuff out about them that way, then maybe just an image online, because with an item online, they typically end up having a few different images. So maybe there's one at the back or something, you can get the information from there. Otherwise, as I say, Companies House or SEC is a great way to get that information if it's not as straightforward as simply finding it on a website or on Google or whatever. And when you reach out to them, whether it's via email or on a call, you can ask something like ChatGPT to generate you sort of like a script. But of course, don't stick solely to the script because it's going to sound a bit weird on the call. But it will just be prompts for you to remain professional, have some key things to discuss with them. And on email, of course, ChatGPT can draft you an email, but always give it a read through. Maybe change a few bits here and there to make it a bit more personal, as in like you've actually written it and so forth. There's a lot of options out there whereby something like ChatGPT can help you with contacting manufacturers or distributors. Hopefully this information has been helpful. Have a great day and I'll catch you soon.